Core TV News, expanding your view.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, the program is Core Digest, and today we're looking at Boko Haram and the Caliphate Declaration. Is full military offensive the answer? And I've been discussing with two gentlemen here who have been helping us analyze in depth the situation on the ground. We have Dipo Olayokun, a political analyst, and Charles Eze, a public affairs analyst. Thank you for being with me all this while. Charles, I was still going to ask you this question. Now, the full military offensive, the situation, the reports we're getting now is trying to take over Bama. The insurgency is pushing into Adamawa State. Now, are we gaining and losing at the same time? Or what else should be done so that this should stop? Because it seems like now that parts of Borno is trying to be reclaimed by the army, that the insurgents are trying to gain parts of Adamawa State.
Yes. Well, we are struggling to get. That's I don't know how to put it. We are struggling to recover that which has been taken from us. The out of the portions of Borno State that have been taken over, right? Authoritatively, about 6 local governments we have lost 6 local governments to the insurgents. And you know what that means? Losing a local government. Talking about the police stations, the schools, the villages, the in fact economic activities totally in those local governments have been brought to a standstill. Now, what the military is doing is good. But are they sufficiently motivated? Do they have the right hardware to fight this war? That is one issue that is still yet. I mean, we can't place a solution, an answer to, except the army.
Now, the chief of army staff says these equipments are coming soon, and the war is going to be over and done with once the equipments are there. And the Air Force have also confirmed that they've received some fighter jets and helicopters to help prosecute this war. And isn't this enough to dislodge the terrorists?
It's not enough. You have to deal with the sponsors. If you don't deal with the sponsors, identify the sponsors, and totally disconnect them, everything will be a wasted effort. Get the best of drones, get the best of fighters jets, get the best of equipment. It will still be an exercise in futility because somebody is still fueling it. So somebody is still financing it.
So your position is that even if this full war seems to give us results, as long as the sponsors are still there, we won't see an end to this terrorism.
They will only retreat, re-strategize, and refire. Retreat, re-strategize, and refire. This time, it will be more massive. The position is very simple. Deal with the sponsors. Deal with the sponsors. Disconnect the source, the lifeline, and everything will be a thing of the past. It will gradually fizzle out.
Now, Dipo, there was a time in the recent past when it seems like the army was succeeding with this Boko Haram fight. And Nigerians were happy for it. What happened?
I was just about saying that this kind of successes are just like a flash in the pan because it was not deep down and not original. On a good day, I don't know, maybe apart from Egypt, I don't know. I think Nigerian army can take on any army on the whole African soil. Maybe to some extent, let us leave South Africa. I don't think there's any country in this neighborhood that can withstand the Nigerian army on a good day. But the question is that we were living in borrowed ropes all along. We thought the Nigerian army of today was the Nigerian army of some years that I had mentioned. Immediately after the declaration of state of emergency in the 3 states, Nigerians heaved sigh of relief. We were even singing, "Hooray, we have conquered." But we didn't know. It's just like a wound that is healing at the surface level, but still have the sore underneath. It will still come out. Because those successes then were not dictated by genuine and prolonged effort. Now let us look at what has happened or transpired after that. It is still in these states where state of emergency has been declared that we have a convoy of 500 Hilux jeeps driven into a place within a period of about 6 hours. And no intersection, nothing is stopping them. This guy will enter the territory, operate for 5-6 hours, go back, and we'll hear about the story later. Because at a stage, these boys, they call them the foot soldiers, later discovered that what was due to them was being cornered by the officers. It's only of recent that Nigeria got to know that there's something they call mutiny in the army. I have stayed long in this country, I've never had it before. Mutiny. Except when those guys came back from one international engagement and some military officers wanted to corner their money. Then that was somewhere in Oshogbo or somewhere in the southwest. But these days, mutiny has become almost like a daily occurrence in Nigerian army. When the small boys will be shooting at their GOC. Just to let you know that discipline had gone away from the military. And the only thing that can sustain a military is discipline. You now have a military where wives of soldiers will be coming out to stage a protest. Don't send our husbands to war front. Doesn't that one strike anything in you? We now have a Nigerian military where the wives and the children will go and barricade a barracks that our husband will not come out and fight a war. There's something fundamentally wrong with this army. If this army continue to declare full-scale war from now till eternity, they cannot win the war. First, about 2 weeks ago, I was coming back from Idori. Then around Ife, we saw this large convoy of tanks moving on. And somebody who happens to be an ex-military officer told us this thing, that the Nigerian military said they don't have ammunition to fight. That this thing they are bringing was stationed at Cantonment Ikeja. They have been there for years. I'm not trying to preempt them. They have brought these things out. They will now tell us that those are the things they are going to buy. That is Nigeria for you. We're not for that. What concerns us is they must win the war. But they must win the war with personnel. With this present crop of personnel that we have, any success they record now, that's why those guys, if you take over this territory from them, they go to another place. Because it's going to be like a flash in the pan. The deep problem that these boys have, we will not solve them. So before a woman could go out and say, my husband will not go out and fight a war, it has to be something they discuss. You know, there's something they call pillow talk at night with your wife when you are in bed. Then you engage in pillow talk. The man will say, come, my wife, I don't think this war is something I should go and fight to. And she will give the load down to the wife. The wife will now tell the neighbor. The neighbor said, my husband also said the same to me yesterday. That is why the wives will now be going out to say, don't push our husband to war front. Let us solve that problem first.
But how long do we continue to play catch-up? Do the Nigerian military continue to play catch-up? Reclaiming territories and losing orders?
It is because of the failure of our institution. If we have, I continue to say, what is the function of DMI? Is to be able to read the next move of your opponent. They should be able to know that, oh, these guys will be going to Adamawa tomorrow. They go there and block them. Why are we reacting to what these boys are doing? There's the need for us to rejig the DMI. That is the base of any success in the army. You should be able to read the strength of your opponent. What are they bringing to the table? You should be able to, if you don't know that, you will get into the war and you will miss something that will be bigger than you, and you make tactical maneuver into another territory. That's what we will be seeing. Let the DMI wake up to that responsibility. Let us know the strength of these boys. Charles said something which Nigerians have not been looking at, they will be overlooking. Where are these guys getting their ammunition from? Reverend Stephen Davis gave us a leeway. Interestingly, the DSS that should have investigated said, no, we're not going that to that. It is unprofessional. Every lead is what being pursued. That is what they told us in investigation. I'm not an investigation expert, but what they told us that every lead, no matter how very silly it is,
Should be followed.
it should be followed. Because you never can tell, in that your foolishness, you could stumble upon something. But DSS have told us they are not going to investigate somebody because he laid down his lives. That's not for me. I'm not in their, I'm not their job. I'm not in DSS. But our own is, it is a shame. When we talk to our neighbors, they tell us that only ragtag team are claiming territory. In fact, if somebody had told me this thing happened 10 years ago, I would have said not in Nigeria. It can happen in Mali.
Okay,
not
now
in Nigeria.
let's look at this, Charles. And some people have suggested that the whole of Sambisa Forest should be raised down, should be leveled. Is that a possibility in fighting this war? Some said that could be the solution.
Martins, at this point, I'm a human being. I have feelings and I have passion for the pains of Nigerians. Every Nigerian that is lost means so much to me. But the girls in I'm going to step on toes this morning. I'm going to hurt a lot of people, but the truth must be told. The girls, and I apologize for what I'm about to say. The Boko Haram, I mean the girls in the Sambisa Forest, if they are there.
No, we don't know where they are.
No, I'm coming. If they are still there, for example, if they are still there, they are not more than the 12,000 Nigerians that have been lost. 12,000 Nigerian lives that have been lost. I think a full-scale war has to be launched in that territory so that we can take over Borno State.
Now, just of recently, the parents of the Chibok girls came out to say they've already conducted funerals and memorials for their daughters, and they've given up. So they are no longer expecting them, and the Nigerian government should forget about the girls. They've already done burial rites for those daughters, and they've closed the case. Now these are the parents of the girls,
yes,
losing hope,
yes,
completely.
Now, I want to put this to you. Self-interest and national interest, which one should come first? Self-interest and national interest. Now you have 200 and something persons about to be lost. Is that life more important than over 12,000 Nigerians that have been lost? Let's look at the arithmetics, the mathematics, surrounding this. Why don't we do something? Nigeria is now a laughing stock in the Committee of Nations. A laughing stock. We don't have respect. You parade Nigerian passports anywhere outside the shores of this country, you are seen as if a potential criminal. It's because we've misplaced value. We don't have value for lives. We've lost it everywhere. Institutions are broken down. Decadence in everything we are doing.
Now that the president has ordered a full-scale military offensive, yes, now, are we going to see the military going right into Sambisa and trying to root out these terrorists? And even in Goza, because they've taken over the mobile training camp in Goza right now, and it seems like their own training camp, and that's where they do their training. Yeah. So are we going to see the military into Sambisa Forest, into Goza, and try to root out this?
For now, I don't see the military taking that much risk until they get fresh supply of hardware, modern hardware, not the obsolete equipment they are using. If budget was made, allocations was made for the military to be taken care of, and these funds, I mean, the truth is now very obvious that they've been neglected. But nobody's asking questions where these monies have been, right? Now, at this point, they won't, in fact, the military is retreating. But the thing is, not as if they are retreating, but they don't have the level of sophistication in terms of hardware to address this issue. Now I see a situation whereby they will take their time, they will be cautious about it until they are sure that what they have in terms of hardware is sufficient, is up to date, is adequate for them to launch a full-scale war.
Now, okay, Dipo, why would the president declare a full-scale offensive if the hardware is not there to prosecute that full-scale offensive?
I don't know what they mean by this full-scale offensive, because to me, I think this thing started a very long time ago, but it's like we misplaced our priorities. Because, like I told you, we saw the movement of some tanks, and the next minister told me that this thing has been lying fallow at the Kenya cantonment, and they're moving them now. Now, to the issue of whether to attack Sambisa, I don't think the military should be thinking along the line you are reasoning. If they are, then it's a shame on them, because it would be very stupid and very foolish of them to expect that those guys are still in Sambisa. Those guys left Sambisa about 2 months ago.
No, to where?
Any remnant of Boko Haram. That is why there's something they call dispersal of.
Been the hiding place.
There's something they call dispersal of seed. These guys have posted themselves to various locations. That's why they are attacking Nigeria from different punks now. Today they will be in Kaduna. Tomorrow they will be in Adamawa. There are no one in Sambisa. Who is expecting them to be in Sambisa? Go and look at security reports. We told them this thing when this thing started. It would be very foolish of them to remain in Sambisa. Because what does it take America? Just drop something, bam, all of them is gone. Since about 5 months ago, or even maybe about a month after they took those girls, they distributed those girls into different camps. So that even if you launch an attack on one camp, you're not able to get all of them. Reverend Stevens told us that at a stage, in the course of the dialoguing with these boys, that they had brought about 60 of those girls out. If you can satisfy our condition, we release this 60 first. If you do our bidding, then we'll release the others. Martins, those boys are no more in Sambisa. Anybody attacking Sambisa is only wasting their time. And I think the military should know this. These boys have been able, that was the mistake we make in allowing these guys to plan their strategy. The other day, when the Boko Haram kidnapped the wife of the Cameroonian vice president, they didn't allow them any breathing space. The Cameroonian vice president, they moved in immediately before they settled down. And that is what they should have done when they kidnapped those girls. But in militaries, in the government circle, they didn't believe it was real until about 2 months later. The problem is we are now fighting a multi-pronged war. These boys are no more located in one position. They have planned their strategy. And don't forget that while we were facing local enemies, calling them APC, calling them national leaders, these guys were receiving training. They were receiving logistics from international, or what they call foreign terrorist organizations, like Al-Qaeda, like ISIS, like Al-Shabaab. They are receiving training, they are receiving logistics. All these things you are doing is no more a localized problem. I am very happy when the Minister for Internal Affairs came up about 2 weeks ago and said Nigeria is fighting international war. Initially, they were deceiving themselves, saying it is APC, it was Northern Elders. Now the fact has dawned on them. This thing is beyond Nigeria, because we allow these things to fester. What we need to do, we cannot do anything about outside our army. But what is the nature? What is the component of the soldiers who are taken to war front? What is the makeup? Somebody who could tell his wife that, please go and protest, I'm not going to fight a war. If you lead him to go and fight the war, he will fight the war absent-mindedly, because his mind is not there. There's the need for us to design a military strategy for Nigeria, a new package, like when you are going for United Nations operation. You know, they give them special package. Yeah. That's what they do for these boys. First of all, boost their morale.
Now, before I pick on your question, let me take a call from Tony. Tony is calling us from Benin. Tony, can you hear us?
Hello, Tony.
Hello, Tony. Good morning. Thank you for calling into Core Digest. Are you still there? I seem to have lost that call. I hope Tony is still going to call back. Now, the full-scale war is what we're looking at. And then immediately after the declaration of the full-scale war, we saw what is happening. Other Boko Haram pushing into other parts of Adamawa State to take it over. Now, you've mentioned and re-emphasized the sponsors. Now, what about the position that Dipo just took now, of the morale of the soldiers who are fighting this war?
Very, very important. Very, very important. If I have a brother...
Some will argue that their salaries and remunerations are morals already.
If I have a brother or a friend in the army today, posted to Borno State, I'll tell him, my guy, look, please tender your resignation letter. Or you have voluntarily decided to go and die and waste your life.
Do you resign like that in the army?
Well, I don't know the way they quit the job, but you can't. I don't know how to put it. Yes, because nobody is asking questions. This is what we are dealing with is hard facts, hard truths here. What has been happening to defense budget? What has been happening to the welfare? Every now and then, their entitlement, the pensions are not paid on time. Now, to the beneficiaries, they spend months, sometimes years, without the intervention of NAUA. That's the Nigerian Army Officers' Wife Association, Nigerian NAFOWA, Nigerian Air Force Officers' Wife Association.
Okay, we'll come back to this. Let me take this call from Obina. Obina is calling from Enugu. It seems to have gone too fast. I hope that they still calling. Go ahead with your analogy.
Without their intervention, giving them handouts, sewing machine, generators for them to start off life. After the death of their beneficiary, their loved ones, the breadwinner of the family. Now, I am married. My wife would never advise me to leave my house if I'm not certain that there will be returns, because she will be taking a huge risk, right? She will be taking risk because the breadwinner of the home, who pays the bill in the house? I do that. Who takes care of the home? Who runs the home? I do that.
Okay, let's take another call from Benin. Ikilo is calling. Ikilo, can you hear us?
Okay.
Yeah, good morning, and thank you for calling.
Hello?
Hello, we can hear you, Ikilo. You can go ahead with your contribution.
Yes. I love the contributions of Charles. The issue is the way the party, the whole thing, is like they are not doing anything. Because definitely if you don't deal with the sponsors, going to fight them in Sabisa Forest will not just give any tangible results. Because it's just like fighting the extreme end without fighting the root cause of the whole thing. If they're able to deal with the sponsors, definitely the last wire that really finance them will be cut off. Once one is cut off, dealing with this insurgents will be done within some days or within some months. But leaving that out will be like not doing anything. That is my contribution.
All right, thank you, Ikolo. Thank you for that contribution, for calling. Now, you're still talking about going after the sponsors. Okay. But we are dwelling on the morale now. Is remunerations and salaries are not morale enough for a soldier who was signed to defend his country?
If I have to pay, I mean, with my life, it's not just my life that is at stake here. My boy of 7, his life is also at stake here, because I'm gone. There's nobody to take care of him. The structure of governance in this country is such that there is no welfare package for anybody. It's like a jungle system. I take care of what's happening. I mean, I'm responsible for my family. The government collects tax from me, and the tax is not judiciously applied to providing infrastructure that will turn around the system, that will make economic activities to blossom. Now, it's tilting to different directions.
All right. Still on this issue of the morale of the fighters. Now, some have really argued that these soldiers know what it takes to enroll in the army, and they've signed for it. So some other external or additional money should not be a factor in fighting a war.
These guys signed up to die for the country, but did not sign up to commit suicide for the country.
Now, what was the difference between fighting a war and suicide? No one is killing himself.
No, when suicide is deliberately and consciously when you kill yourself. Have you ever, maybe it's because some of us are journalists, and we have been able to build some trusts within the military circle. At times they open up to us. Have you ever sat
before
down?
you continue, let me take this call from Sharif, and then we'll get back to you. Sharif, can you hear us this morning? Hello, Sharif. Yeah, can you speak a little bit louder? Thank you for calling. We seem to have lost that call.
When you signed to fight for your country, it's on the basis that the country will provide you with the tools to fight. Not when you are going to fight a war and they count bullets for you. In the midst of full war, you run out of bullets. What happens? There is a fundamental flaw with the system in Nigeria. That's why it's a pity many of these guys cannot come out to say things. That's why they prefer to talk to BBC. Listen to their interviews on BBC. Though Nigerian military will dismiss and say, those guys are not Nigerian soldiers. But some of them talk to us. We know their limitations. Ask them what they give them to go and confront a war. There was a time in this country when Nigerian police will go and confront armed robbers. I was once, on two occasions, victim of armed robbery attack. There was a time when those guys, when they shoot their gun.
Okay, let's give Sharif the time here. He is successfully called back. Sharif, thank you for calling back.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Yeah, are you hearing me, please?
Hello, go ahead and speak a little louder, Sharif.
What I have to say right now, I discovered that this program you're organizing is an interesting program, and yes, you are making it so that everybody in Nigeria will understand the status of our Nigerian military. So, as the situation now, you see, the military, their morale are very, very low. What happened is that I cannot blame the military because some of them are saying that they don't have enough equipment to wage these people. You know, we fought civil war before, and you know, they have those things there. You cannot say that they don't have it. The situation whereby they will be running away from a small clique. They cannot defeat them. It's a big thing. You see, all these things boil down to the government. You see, like I read in the newspaper the other day, that I think it's the commanding officer is saying that they are waiting for the presidency to give them go ahead. I don't just understand. They want everybody to die first before they give go ahead for the military to go on a serious offensive. It's a serious case. You see, like what the last week I just spoken. I shared the idea with him. You understand what I mean? You see, it castigated the military because you cannot just wait for an authority and you know that these things are going on. Why not you, as a military man, go straight to the president and say, look, this is what we are intending to do. And he will give the go ahead. People are dying. People are dying. I'm not happy with the government. I'm telling you, I'm not happy with the government. If it's just to be a passenger that is dead, this kind of a thing will not happen. It can never happen. So, that is why I
All right, Sharif, thank you for calling. You've made your point. Thank you very much for expressing yourself there. And he's taking the same position as you.
Because you ask yourself, why do these guys excel when they go out to fight? Because they don't depend on the ammunition provided by Nigeria. The ammunitions are provided by United Nations. and they have this thing in abundance. He was making reference to the golden era of Nigerian military because they had enough tools to fight. But these days, you discover that what they give them is not sufficient to even confront these guys. And you begin to ask yourself, how come that Boko Haram, that is not a standing army, could confront the whole Nigerian army? What's the problem? They said Nigerian army is about 456,000.
Okay, we're going to make a statement. Let us take this call from Okafor. Okafor, thank you for calling.
This is Okafor calling from Enugu.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, my brother. The program you're organizing is very interesting and educative. There are some people that didn't even understand the details as in what is happening in the country. But the way we are explaining it, even people who did not go to school tend to understand it clearly. There's the thing that is happening, this Boko Haram issue. In Igbo land, there's what they normally say in Igbo language, Okoro Adakari Onye Korean. Meaning that a child can never undergo his parents or father. Boko Haram cannot intimidate a whole Nigeria. I believe that the president, our president, he has the right to handle the situation in a way that this issue can be submitted down. And what am I trying to say? The army, the police, the Air Force are under his control. He has the right, hence most of our soldiers do go to other countries to keep this peacekeeping whatever. I think he has the right to mandate them to handle these people. From what I have heard from Delhi, they are not trained. These are hooligans. And we have military. People who are trained to maintain peace and order in the country. I suggest that if our president can give the officers who are directly in charge of security in the country the go-ahead order, this issue will be a forgotten issue.
All right, Okafor, thank you for calling. Our time is up. We'll not have the opportunity to allow you make more of your points. And I'm sorry we have to round up at this point because our time is up and we don't have the luxury of time to keep talking. Wish we had more time than this. We would have continued discussions. I hope when next we call on you, you oblige us the opportunity to be on Core Digest again. Thank you very much, Dipo Olayokun and Charles. Thank you so much for being here on the program. Viewers, it's been Core Digest, and today we've discussed on Boko Haram and the Caliphate Declaration. In the full-scale military offensive, the answer. I hope you enjoyed the discussions. Do join us tomorrow for another session on Core Digest. I am Martin Dixon. News on the Hour is next. Stay with us then.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on Core TV News.